Hello viewers, welcome to Loud About Addiction, episode 7. Oh my god, I've had such a blast. But we'll bring this energy into the show live, so we're just going to go live on the radio right now. So bear with us one moment and we'll be back to share everything amazing. Yeah.
This is Loud About Addiction with Tom and Dave. Broadcasting from the world famous Bondi Beach. Bondi Radio.
Hello Bondi Radio and welcome to Loud About Addiction, episode 7 of an 8 series, right? Yes, 8 series. 8 series talking all things lifestyle addictions, whether it's drugs, alcohol, over shopping, overeating. There's a long list of them. We're going to be bringing motivation, engagement, a lot of support. Most importantly, sharing a fundamental and amazing tool, a certain coaching methodology which can move you from a place of pain, from a place of any lifestyle addiction. And if you take yourself through this, you can come out and, as Dave says really well, live a life of choice. Yeah.
Beautiful.
If you're just catching up or you're new to the show, we do want to let you know that you can jump online either on Facebook or on the Bondi Radio app. We do have all of the episodes up until today's episode recorded for you. We will touch base on a little bit of what we have spoken about so far to really bring you along on the journey and so you know what we're discussing today. However, if you're with us for the first time, stick with us, be here. You're going to take a lot of value away from today's show. It's jam-packed full of value. I know we're both really excited about the levels that we're talking about right now. Before we get into that, Dave, because I'm really excited, and I almost jumped the gun and got straight into it because I'm excited. Mate, how are you? I haven't seen you.
I'm very well, Tom. How are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. I'm really well.
Couldn't I be well? Down at beautiful Bondi. Had a lovely weekend. Played a bit of tennis and had a few meals with my wife. It was a lovely, lovely weekend.
How'd you play?
I played okay. It's, again, what I speak about often, I forget that I'm 56, so I try and run everything down, so I was a bit sore and sorry yesterday.
How are the hammies, mate?
Hammies are tight. Hammies are tight. Hammies are tight. As Ray Rowan would say.
Ray Warren.
But look, it was great. Had a lovely weekend. And I'm off to the States next Tuesday. I'm speaking at a conference in Phoenix, Arizona, and it's a conference for the book. The book I've written, Balboa Press publishers conference. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Beautiful. Unreal. How long are you there for?
Just for a week. I've never been to the States before, so straight from LA to Phoenix. I don't even stop at LA, so it'll be a real eye-opener for me.
Yeah, straight into the thick of it and put on stage in front of a large bunch of people.
And I've bagged the States a bit in my book, so...
oh, no.
Fingers crossed they'll let me in.
Can you just skip those pages?
Yeah, I'll rip them out.
Oh, that's hilarious, mate. That's hilarious. I was about to say, Dave, for anyone that's listening and watching right now, we are broadcasting live out of the bucket list down at Bondi Beach, beautiful Sydney. This is actually the first episode out of 7, I think, which we've had this kind of weather.
It's a bit of a funky old day, isn't it?
We've been very lucky up until today. Well, we're lucky every day. But in regards to the weather and being greedy as we are sometimes and wanting the sun to be shining, look, it's quite cloudy at the moment. Not too sure if it's going to rain or not. But that's to give you a view. We're overlooking a beautiful cafe restaurant area here. Some people are starting to flood in the gates. They'll be ordering some food soon.
Now, little birdie told me, Tom, that you got a bit of a bit of sunburn from Glamorama Beach.
Oh, did you have to bring that up? I'm currently suffering from heat stroke, I think.
You weren't in the G-banger, were you, mate? Or
no, I wasn't rocking the G-banger down at Tamarama, or very well known as Glamorama down here. It is absolutely beautiful beach.
Great beach.
Beautiful beach
Great
down here.
waves.
Look, mate, to be honest, not happy with myself. I say and I try to live what I preach and really look after my body. However, I totally forgot my sunscreen on Sunday and absolutely roasted. An hour and a half, 2 hours in the sun. Really, really roasted. I haven't been roasted like this since, I was probably 15 or 16, where I just did not care about my own skin. So if
Tom's a bit fidgety on his seats because he's got a burnt bot.
I wasn't going to say anything, but now everybody knows
it's out there.
that I'm burnt. But look, it's been a fantastic week. I was actually in Melbourne, as we just discussed, during the week at an amazing training that I went to, run by someone who's by the name of Darcy Smith, doing amazing things in the world of sales and how we can consistently solve problems for people, and aligning our thinking with other people's thinking, and just really how to get into the psychology behind helping someone through a problem.
What an amazing city Melbourne is, isn't it?
Yeah, beautiful city, beautiful
Gorgeous.
city. Good friend of mine lives down there, so free accommodation all the way. Dave, in saying that, look, I'm so excited, as I've said a few times, to get into today's show.
Into it.
Because we're actually up to level 6 and 7 of this 7-step coaching methodology, which is called the Trust Me module. It's called the Trust Me module. Now, it has been created and it's derived from an amazing module out there that does fantastic in the world of human behavior, personal development, solving problems, which is called Spiral Dynamics. This is another version of that, or as I said, it's derived from that, and it's got its own shape and own spin on it. And I really resonate with this one here, so I use it time and time again to move clients through different addictions, mostly and a lot of the time around alcohol and gambling. Yet you can funnel it into any addiction any problem that you have in life. Notice what level you're at, what level you need to get to in order to solve that problem. So I'll give a little recap for those that are new to us on the show. The Trust Me model, 7-step coaching methodology. Each level is what we call a level of thinking, and that level of thinking generally has very similar groups of ideas, beliefs, and values. And depending on what level we're at, will depend on what kind of results we get. So if we talk about wanting to overcome an alcohol addiction, we can actually really quickly give ourselves certainty and think about, okay, well, what level am I at? And where do I need to get to? What work needs to be done? And what problems do I need to solve right now? Make sense?
Sure.
Yeah. So we talk about level 1, which is trust, not having all too much trust in ourselves. I'm going to be honest here, very low amount of trust in ourselves, and we know that because we don't trust others. So if we're not trusting others with our problem, if we're not putting our hand up and asking for help, that's just a reflection, a very accurate reflection of the trust that we have in us, which is a low level of trust. Once we move through trust, if we're lucky enough to do so, we'll get to level 2, which is R for relatability. This is where we find a tribe. We, for the first time, feel a sense of safety, security, and comfort. We realise maybe we don't have to do this on our own. Now, when we're at relatability in a sense of unresourcefulness, we've actually just found a tribe of thinkers that are also quite fear-based and also don't trust themselves all too much. And we can get stuck in the relatable tribe, and I certainly believe that the Australian drinking culture, for example, I'm not too sure about any other countries out there, I know there are, but for example, the Australian drinking culture, I don't know, would you agree, Dave, that it's stuck in this relatable, tribal-like thinking that
much.
Whether you want to drink or not, it doesn't matter, it's an expectation,
Very
it's
much.
a social expectation.
And once again, we're glorifying and celebrating schoolies up on the Gold Coast, and look, that's a lot of fun. I remember heading up there myself back in 1979 for schoolies, but it's all over the press, it's all over the radio. We tend to glorify the growing up, leaving school, becoming an adult is getting completely off your face. And I talk to a lot of friends of mine who were born in Europe, born in Asia. They just did not grow up with that complete disrespect for the dangers and effects of alcohol, the abuse of alcohol. They were taught to drink properly or grew up without it.
Well, Dave, it's interesting you say that, because my brother-in-law Casey's lived over in India. He lived in India for 6 months working, and he came back and he knows what I do, and he said, Tom, it's really interesting because when I was in India, we still did everything that we do here. So we'd finish work and we'd go 10-pin bowling, or we'd do karaoke night, yet no one was drinking.
No, that's right.
And he found it amazing. He's like, everyone's still just having as much fun. But it just goes to show that it is a social expectation for a lot of people.
Very
much. That's what happens when we get stuck in level 2 of this module, which is relatability. And unfortunately enough, because we feel safe and comfortable in this tribe of people, or in the drinking or the addiction world, we actually put our dreams on hold, and we say yes to everyone else and no to us, which means as long as other people are happy, as long as I'm meeting some kind of expectation, I'll just live my life like this because I feel safe. However, there's a certain period of time that happens before you hit breaking point, or you've had enough is enough, if you have had enough, or get to the point of having and thinking that enough is enough, you can get to. You can do it on your own, but you can also do it really quickly with the help of someone. Get to level 3 in this module, which is U, so TRU, U for uniqueness. And this is where we say, enough is enough. My life will no longer be determined by my tribe's insecurities. What that means is my life won't be determined by what other people are afraid of. So I'm not going to continue to go out and drink heavily because it's the chance that it'll make my friends or my wife or my husband or my partner feel uncomfortable. Like I've got to be with them doing that thing. Uniqueness is a beautiful level because we've got to take so much responsibility. And as I said, you can go back and listen to the early episodes how to solve these problems for yourself. But as a helicopter view today, we take so much responsibility for ourselves, and we realise it's time that I figure out who I am, where I fit in the world, and what I was put here to do. And before level 3, that does not happen.
No, not at all.
It does not happen. Once you've been taking enough responsibility and you feel, I'm going to use the word confident, you're confident enough in you to move forward through your problems, then you can get to level 4, which is S for system structure, or we can sum that up as sustainability. So it's where now we want to see consistent results and learn how do we consistently show up as us, leaving other people's insecurities at the door. Noticing that we might have to challenge our tribe. The tribe could be our family. It could be our religion. It could be the school or the education system that we're in. It could be the company that we work for. It could be our intimate or loving relationship. We realise that there's got to be systems and structures and processes in place because other people have gotten the result before. Other people have solved problems around addiction. So what is it that we need to put in place? What planning and process do we need to follow to get a consistent result? And once we've seen enough of that, we can get to level 5, which is tenacity, T for tenacity, where we actually become really hungry for our problems. Where we realise it's not so much I'm afraid of the problems. In fact, bring on the effing problems, bring them on. Put me in a position where I used to feel uncomfortable and watch me smash it out of the park. Put me in a position where I feel like I'm having the deep sense or urge to go to my addiction, the alcohol, the cigarette, the drug, and watch me crush it, watch me get through it. It's having this tenacity in life. And then when we're up to today, which is level 6. So level 6 is meaning and level 7 is evolution. So level 6, beautiful level, meaning. What does meaning, what does this actually mean?
Talk me through it, Tom.
All right. So Dave, meaning is where we've had so much tenacity, we've faced so many problems in life. Let's say, for example, a good example would be a certain period of time without our substance abuse. Or poker machine, whatever it might be. We go a certain period of time without abusing that, and if we follow this module, we realise that we're not actually afraid of not using or not playing poker machines or gambling, whatever it might be. We're not afraid of it anymore. We actually welcome the idea of not doing it. We develop our character for the first time. Responsibility, grit, hunger, determination, someone who's proud, someone who's respectful, someone who can give back. All of these qualities that many of us are after. And once we've done this for a certain period of time, we actually realise, or we can think, hang on a second, I'm out of problems. And we just start to associate and realise that we're feeling the way it is that we originally wanted to feel. A lot of the time I hear the word freedom comes up. And I know you talk about freedom a lot, Dave, the sense of being free. Whether you can drink or you can't drink, or you can have 2 beers and go home, or you just never touch the stuff. It doesn't matter. It's the sense of freedom and the feeling that we want. And meaning is for the first time in our lives where we start to question and really think, is this the biggest problem in my life anymore? Was this it? I thought that this was the thing that was the worst thing in life. This was going to be, if I solved this, I was going to be great, good, everything was going to be solved. You start to associate some meaning to it and just look back and think, wow. Look back into the past and think, look how far I've come. Look how far I've come, and what does this mean to me? What does this mean? What's next? There's got to be another level. This is the kind of thinking when we get to meaning, and we can start to become a little others focused. Which we will talk about a little bit more in the show. I know it's certainly happened for me, Dave. Was there ever a time where because you've talked about in the show how severe this problem was for you, really life and death problem,
it was life and death
solving that needed to happen. Just amazing to see where you are now. Is there any awareness when we talk about level 6 around meaning where there was a switch, or you started to think differently at all, and going from this is the worst problem, never going to solve it, to kind of hang on a second, I've got this?
Look, in recovery circles and the sobriety programs, there's a lot of a lot of talk, a lot of writing around how once we get through that initial stage of getting over our addiction, whether it be alcohol, drugs, sex, overeating, work, we finally start feeling, and the feelings come up.
Okay, yeah.
The feelings come up, and life, we also realise, as you just touched on, Tom, that life still carries on. And my belief is because we focus for so long on our addiction or on our damaging behaviours, that tends to encapsulate our life. So our life becomes our addiction, our life becomes the damaging behaviour.
Yeah.
So once it's removed, we think, oh, hang on, life's still happening.
Yeah.
There's more out there. And the fear comes up, which is natural. And fear generates anxiety, and we feel a bit stuck, or we feel, oh, there's more to life. And yes, there is more to life. So I've had many, many periods in my recovery where it's like, again, in recovery circles, we talk about peeling the layers of the onion off. So you keep on growing, you keep on changing, you keep on refocusing. So I've had periods where I've talked about leaving the banks before, and I talked about leaving the bank in 2013. People said I was crazy. You know, I had a great job, I was making good money, it was secure. In a few more years' time, I would have been coming up to long service leave, but I wanted more. Because, and we'll talk about it, I think, in evolution soon.
Which is step 7 for those of you. So step 6 is meaning. We're discussing that right now, and then step 7 is evolution.
Yep, that's right. In meaning, we realise there's more to life. There's more meaning to us. There's more meaning to others. There's more meaning to what we do as a human being on this planet. And we've only got one day, so we've really got to embrace it. Because life, we're born to die. Life goes quickly out with the tide. That we realise that there is more to life. And when you've beaten your addiction, when you've beaten your damaging behaviour, you're winning that confidence that there is more to life. You know you can do more. And if you are living with passion, if you are living with purpose, you need to be fulfilled in every part of your life. Relationships, community, your damaging behaviours, work, sport, fitness, health, all those things. So yeah, I've had many, many times when I've realised, okay, let's move forward.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that, Dave. There's something that I heard in your language that I want to bring up, because it's really important when we're understanding and appreciating this coaching module. The reason why it's so beneficial is because we can relate our message to the level of thinking that we currently have. So, for example, what you said there was there's so much more to life. There's all of this. There's this place of service I can give back. If I was to try to relate that message to someone who was at level 1, they wouldn't comprehend it because they're not there yet. They need level 1 learnings and education, which is purely around how do I trust me, or how do I trust myself, and that is very self-focused, and that's okay. That's where we're at the moment. That's how it needs to be.
Sure.
Our level of thinking. So it's a really good example there.
Well, I think addiction too, in active addiction, and you and I have spoken about it, we're very self-obsessed. It takes over our whole life. So, and when you're using a substance or a behaviour, you're basically, as Tom talks about a lot, you're either avoiding something.
Avoidance strategy, yeah.
Or you're making yourself feel better. So again, when that substance is taken away, you're left with yourself. So the need to search out a meaning, to be of meaning, creates more value. So in the active addiction, when we just stop and we're going through steps 1, 2 and 3, it's more about self-work, it's more about self-development.
Yep.
And as we spoke about earlier today, we cannot evolve as a human being, we cannot take our purpose, our passion to other human beings, our community, unless we love ourselves.
Yeah, spot on. Yeah, so spot on. I wanted to say, I was going to share something there, and I thought, you know what, I'll leave it for evolution when we get into that in our next segment. Meaning's so important, and like every level here is important, okay? And if you're new to this coaching module, always remind yourself to take a breath and realise, where are you right now? Dave and I were both at level 1. We've both been there. Anybody that's running addiction has been at level 1. Whether they're out of that or not, they've been there. No one's skipped a level. No one has ever gotten straight into relatability. Everybody starts at trust from the minute they're born. Okay, so no matter what you're hearing from family, friends, therapists, coaches, like whoever's you're listening to, just know that they've also been there. Yeah, and it's such a beautiful way to think, because what we're doing when we're at level 1, which is trust, we're trying to build up more judgment towards ourselves. So we will take on any information to think other people are better than us. One of the things that we'll talk about today is shame. And you know, what are we running quite heavy addictions for? And you know, we found in the coaching space that it all comes back to shame from a very young age, and what we call toxic shame, which is, you know, feeling shameful that we have to block our full potential or our true identity or what we're capable of for some reasons or another.
And that can still come back, can't it, Tom? Like, you know, if you haven't slept well, if you're sick, you're not eating well, a relationship is broken down, your work's not going as well as you want it to do. That old guilt and shame, which I believe gets in our DNA, gets in our genetics, it's like trauma. The old images of who we were, what we did, the guilt and shame can come back and haunt us. I talk about the alcoholic dawn or the addict's dawn at 3 and 4 in the morning, when you wake up with yourself, you're not feeling well, life's not going the way you want it to go. That guilt and shame will come back. But you can, when we are in meaning, we can decide, no, I want more, I can step out of that.
Yeah, of course. This is the key. This is so important to realise. It's not that the problems or the shit or the crap or whatever you want to call it doesn't show up. It's the decisions you make when the problems show up. And yeah, I do have a great example for you there, Dave. I'm one of my really close friends at the moment, full of confidence, on top of the world, great business, does really, really well. All of a sudden, struggling in relationship. His fullness, his potential, everything seems to be shut down, right? So it's, I'm not allowed to do this anymore because the relationship's not working. So of course, there's going to be things in life that can pop up. Uncertainty, there's problems everywhere in life. And if we want to think that life's all rainbows and butterflies, then I wish you the best of luck and I hope it works for you. However, give yourself certainty by realising there's problems everywhere in life. The key to solving those problems is by solving the problems that you have within yourself, which means removing and letting go of toxic shame, coming from a place of acceptance of where you've fucked up in the past or what you've done wrong in the past. Everybody's made mistakes, no matter how severe they are, and getting back to that level of true authenticity with yourself. And as you said, there's going to be times where we feel negative or unresourceful or crappy or shitty or down. That's okay to feel that way. There's nothing wrong with feeling down or feeling negative emotions. It's actually, they're all there for a reason. They're there to tell us something. It's just when we get stuck in them. So as you said, 3 a.m. in the morning and having this shame, do you carry, if you carry that on into 6 p.m. that night and then go and get totally obliterated, well, then there's a problem there. But if you sit with it, remind yourself how it felt, maybe notice what it's there for, what's it triggering you to do. Maybe it's to kick up the bum, the motivation you need. Maybe it's to go and, if you're at level 6 of meaning, maybe it's a kick up the bum to say, you've got to go and offer some time at a shelter or a homeless shelter or provide at a soup kitchen or something else. I give back to people. I certainly know if I'm feeling down or let's say less significant for any reason, I know that's a booster for me to say go and serve someone. However, I wouldn't be saying this when I was at level 1 or 2. No way. It would be go and do something fun for yourself. Go to the pub with mates, like if I'm feeling down. So I'm only at this level now, where I'm at. Yeah. And
that behaviour just exacerbates it. If, you're going to the pub with your mates, it's just piling guilt and shame on top of guilt and shame, because the next morning you wake up and you feel worse. So I used to carry those signals in active addiction. I could carry them for a month. Then I learnt to carry them for a couple of weeks. Then I learnt to carry them for a couple of days. And now, 9 times out of 10, I only carry them for 10, 15 minutes. I'll go into meditation, I'll clear my body, clear my mind, and I'll wake up. I usually wake up fresh, and then I'll go into my routine, which is eating well, exercising, talking to someone I love, saying I love you to someone. I go through my whole family, all my boys, my wife, every day, whether it's an SMS or a phone call. I love you, how are you? It's very simple, takes 1 or 2 seconds.
And Dave, for the people, for those that are listening, our amazing viewers and listeners, we love you so much. And I want to serve you here by asking a question which might really help. Because one of the problems that I tend to come across when I'm having conversations with people is this: I need it now, or if I can't solve it in a weekend, then I'm never going to solve it. So, like, if you're happy to share, Dave, how long did it take from wanting to solve your problem initially? So this is, I mean, before the stint in rehab where some stuff happened and you really changed, from the first time you started to question yourself and beat yourself up and realise I don't want to do this but I'm doing it, so the first time the addiction was really there, to living a life of, you know, more true congruency, as you say, noticing your strategies, what your triggers are, like living a life of fulfillment as you're doing at the moment. Like, how long would that be?
Look, it took me 3 years to stop and 3 rehabs. Now, there's an issue I find in 12-step recovery where the signals are, if you're an alcoholic or an addict, that means you're addicted to everything. So I believe those sort of words, those sort of signals for many years. It took me 13 to 14 years in recovery to start working on wholesome, healthy relationships. One morning I woke up and I said to myself, why am I in a career I don't enjoy? Why am I in a broken relationship? And the word came back, and I'd asked this many, many times before, well, why not? Are you leading the type of life you want to lead? If not, why? And then I thought, well, I've beaten drugs, I've beaten alcohol, I'm an extraordinary father, and I know that's not coming out of ego. I've got 3 amazing sons, and I've been able to live with congruence with them and be honest and open with them, and they're honest and open to me back. So if I can do this, I can do this with relationships, I can do this with work. And that took me 13 to 15 years from the day I did not pick up a drink. Now, this is why we're here. This is why we're here today talking to you guys out there. That you can do, once you beat your addiction, you can beat anything. All you got to do is keep believing, keep getting up. You get knocked over, get up. Get knocked over, get up. And things will break. But you've got to take the belief that you took in beating the addiction and working through that, you can take it into anything. So what I've learnt with my relationships, for example, is that I've got to have no expectation around the outcome of the relationship. I learnt not to put value and, you know, all my happiness into a relationship. I had to bring myself, an open, honest man, into the relationship. Yeah, bingo. Not have expectations from my partner or my wife, but love with openness and honesty. And all of a sudden, my relationship started working.
All of a sudden, they started working. So because you started working, you went to work on your shit, Dave. You sorted out so many problems for yourself. You've tapped into, like, everything you're saying now is level 6 and above. It's meaning, and it's because one of the things you said, Dave, was without ego, and you said it so beautifully. And I'm a beautiful dad, and like I'm an amazing dad, and all these things that you talk about. However, actually, I won't give yourself as an example because I'm not sure if it's true. But I know for me, when I was at level 1 and 2, it wasn't like that. It was, I'm a shit son, I'm a shit kid. I'm effing up my relationship, so I couldn't speak like that.
And that's the signals you get back from everyone else. If you're in active addiction, you're stuffing up.
Your relationships in your life are a direct reflection of the relationship you have with yourself. Like,
and in active addiction, one of the cruelest parts of active addiction is we hurt the people we love most. So those signals for me took a long while to get over, because basically I didn't trust myself in a relationship. So if I can't trust myself, I can't trust the relationship. But again, what I had to learn is a relationship is not going to make you happy. And all the signals you talk about it, Tom, on social media, Instagram, you get the picture of the beautiful couple, the beautiful dress with the beautiful French champagne, sitting by the beautiful pool, by the beautiful beach in Bali. Therefore, I'll have a beautiful relationship. No, wrong.
It's so surface level. It drives me insane.
It's like we think alcohol or cocaine or sex is going to make us happy. Yeah, it makes us happy for a few minutes.
Short-term pleasure for long-term pain.
Yeah, but the relationship is the same. So when I treated the relationship not as a complete part of me, but as another part of me, bringing myself into the relationship, and then meeting the person where they wanted to bring themselves into the relationship. All of a sudden, my relationship started working.
Yeah.
And I took that neediness away.
Yeah.
You know when you're needy in a relationship, oh darling, I love you. Why don't you love me? All that sort of stuff.
Do you love me?
Yeah.
Where are you going for dinner? What time are you going to be home? Who are you going with? Can I call you in half an hour? Just these questions.
I stopped doing all that.
Yeah.
I stopped sending all those silly little SMSs that we see in Hollywood movies. I don't do any of that. Once a morning and once an afternoon, I'll send a text to Donnelly, I love you. What do you want for dinner? You know, I don't annoy her through the day because she has her own life, she has her own career, and Donnelly's a very strong woman, so she doesn't need me to be a strong woman. She needs me to be a wholesome and good partner for our relationship. So you've got to allow a woman or a man, if you're in same-sex partnerships, you have to allow that partner to be themselves. You're not there to change them. You're there to make their life better because of you. Yeah,
I'm hearing two more so, I'm just going to use the terms, more so whole and complete individuals with high healthy standards. When I say high standard, sometimes I say high standards and someone goes, oh, like a wanker. Or like a person I'll never be good enough for.
Yeah.
No, I mean high standards is in I know who I am. You mentioned Donna Lee being strong, having these standards that I'll sum it up quite well. I had a conversation with a client last night who was asking me specifically about my relationship, and I said this. I said, when you're moving away from addiction, and it's so common that if you're running an addiction strategy, your relationships in your life are not healthy. That's just how it goes, right? Because how you do the little things is how you do the big things.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay? So, and he said, well, you know, he's struggling a little bit with his relationship at the moment, and he said, well, what do you mean? Like, how do you not need your wife, Tom? I said, well, in a sense, I need my wife, and I love it, and we're going to be together forever, and we have the most amazing relationship. And I said to him, however, I know deep down, really deep down, that if anything was to ever happen, I would be okay, and life would go on. And when I say if anything was to happen, you can make that mean anything. But if anything was to happen, I would be okay. And it comes from that level of removing expectation and knowing that I'm whole and complete. And my partner is whole and complete. And we come together to make a beautiful relationship. However, before this relationship, it was neediness and expectation, either to be here or not to be here. It was expectation to either be here when I need you, and when I don't need you, stop calling me, stop messaging me. Obviously, those are the times when you're out with your mates till 3 a.m. in the morning, of course, because you're at a level
I'll
1
be
or 2
home in 20 minutes.
over and over again.
Yeah. Terrible behaviour too.
Yeah.
And again, that sort of behaviour is joked about and talked about in male society in Australia. And you touched on something very important, and it's wonderful to hear such a relationship at your age, Tom, and I mean that in a positive way, that's so healthy. That again, we're taught in society that it's not if you're well and if you're confident, you're a wanker. No, you're not a wanker, you're just doing life well. You're doing life well. People say to me, oh, you're too happy, you're too jovial. And it's like, well, what am I supposed to be? Like, isn't that what we...
What do you hear? Say that again.
Oh, you're too happy, you're too lighthearted, you don't take life seriously.
And that's what a tribal think. That's what a level 2 thinker will say. A level 1 and 2 thinker will say very similar stuff. Like, it's exactly the term that we hear over and over again. Or as you said, not to cut you off, Dave, but as it's so important.
That's great.
As you said, it's the same as tall poppy syndrome. Where did we create this thinking that if you're successful, you should be put down, or you obtained it unhealthily, or you're lucky, or you were given money, or you don't have problems, or you've never had anxiety, or you've never experienced addiction? Like, it's shut the F up in a healthy way, and just listen and realise that the majority of these people have done the work.
That's right.
And if they haven't, you're looking up to the wrong people.
Look, if I've got a mate, and I've got a few mates who've come from very wealthy families, now if they're happy, congruent, healthy people and they're giving back and they're enjoying life, but they've come from a wealthy family, all power to you. God bless you. Enjoy it. You know, why should I be envious? Why should I again, this is a very important thing I talk about all the time. I will not give away my energy, my resentment, my anger and fear to another human being, because that to me is just a negative on my part.
Yeah.
I'm not going to react to someone, and look, that I'm not perfect. I will react, but I choose on a daily basis not to give away my energy, my power to another human being.
Well, you learn that when you... Excuse me, I was going to say when your results change. So when you start seeing the results you want in life, it's a reflection of the levels of thinking have raised. Like you've moved through different levels of thinking. And it's then when you realise, like what you tapped in on there, that's level 3 thinking, which is responsibility. So it's like, I'll take responsibility. Having anger or resentment has nothing to do with that other person. It only has to do with yourself.
Sure, it's coming from yourself.
Every time, and that's what you learn.
Usually envy, it's usually jealousy, and it's a lack of, it's low self-esteem or a lack of pride in what you're doing.
Yeah.
So you're comparing yourself to others, and again in society, in Western society, we're always comparing ourselves to others. You know, the Instagram photo with the big booty. You know, it's not how we look and who we are, it's who we are inside. And look, if we're good inside, we're usually shining outside.
Yeah, spot on. I'll be really honest here and vulnerable. It took me years to move away from the belief that I need to physically look a certain way to now believing I need to feel a certain way. And it's specifically related to the gym and how I train.
It's being healthy. Being healthy. I love going to the gym. I love boxing. I love working out. I love getting in the ocean. But I do it to be healthy. It gives me so much more in life.
Yeah.
It gives me more freedom of choice.
Yeah.
Which
is what we're here for.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So again, when you look at someone and they're really healthy and buffed, and you think, oh, wanker. No, well, if they're healthy and it gives them more freedom of choice, again, go for it. Enjoy it.
And ask yourself, what do you get out of saying, wanker?
Yeah, again.
And what you get out of that, each and every time, will be justification on one of your problems.
Yeah, that's
every
true.
single time.
Very true.
If you call someone out on being a wanker or whatever it might be, you're just gaining justification on an unresourceful belief you have. Every time.
For sure.
Well, we've really gone down the rabbit hole of meaning.
We went down something there, but it really is about meaning.
Yeah.
It is before that next step too.
Well, if anybody, for the viewers and our members and everyone that's listening right now will be aware that our language is changing. As we've gone along the show, we're not talking like this in level 1. Level 1, we were talking about how do I trust myself enough to make a decision, to stop, like it's very just safety, security. And now we're talking about, this is meaning, there's high level thinkers out there that we look up to.
That's true. Sorry, Tom.
You're right.
Again, when you're getting to that level of thinking, you're living that type of life, it becomes very intoxicating. It's like jumping in the ocean when it's warm at the summertime. It's like, it's that warm ginger ale of the ocean where you feel so good. When you're feeling this way 8, 9 times out of 10 instead of 1 or 2 times out of 10 in active addiction, you really want it.
Yeah.
So you don't want to give all that power, all that congruence away by picking up a drink or a drug or going out and losing it in a gambling binge. I'm not saying you're not going to do it. We're human. We make errors. However, when you taste life at its best, you don't really want to give it up, do you?
Yeah, oh, spot on. It's like the I would say like the elastic band or the rubber band effect. You make the decision. You go, I'm going to move through the Trust Me module, and the further you go, it kind of gets harder. But once you get to the higher levels, I know for me it was like hitting tenacity was kind of where the band snapped, which is like, wow, is this what you feel like? For me, it was, is this what I would feel like 5 months not putting money in the pokies and not drinking? This is incredible. Now I've made some mistakes since then and whatnot. It's not like I've never drank and I've never played the pokies. However, each and every time it's like, that problem's solved. I'm never going back to that because this is too good. Now through the process, there's a lot of problems to be solved. Like toxic shame had to be removed, acceptance, where did I stuff up, what did I do, how was I raised, what happened in my education, like all of these things come up. However, this is one of the best coaching methodologies to move you through this. And when you hear me say coaching methodologies, like at the end of the day, coaching methodology is a framework that you can look at behaviour and put it somewhere. So you can give yourself certainty, and then you can look at it and go, oh, that's what's happening. And you realise it's not me, it's not you, it's your behaviour at the moment. as you said, our behaviour and our addictions can mask our whole personality. We think we can become so identified with it.
We get lost in it.
We get lost in it, we think it's us. So it's actually scary to go anywhere else, because what are we without the addiction can show up a lot of the time.
Yeah, very true.
Dave, once we've gone through level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is 5's tenacity, then meaning, look back, wow, I'm almost out of problems when it comes to this specific problem. I've solved everything. Everything I thought was the next level that I needed to solve, everything. Wow, what does this mean to me? And we start associating meaning to it. And what does this mean? And sometimes we think, oh, this is great, but maybe there's other people that I can help. Maybe there's other people that I can bring along. And what's actually level 7? Where do we go to after meaning? Because there's another level we must get through. And I know individuals that have got right up to level 5 and 6 and not to level 7, which we're about to mention. And that's a problem. We need to get through to level 7. So what is level 7?
Evolution.
Yeah.
This is the pay dirt stuff. This is the exciting stuff.
Yeah. It's all
I
exciting.
feel excited about
it. I'm really excited as well. Just that word. Think about going from the word self-trust, evolution. Self-trust, evolution. It's a beautiful, beautiful frame, beautiful module to go through. So evolution is actually where we've realised that there's got to be more to this. So we're at level 6. We're at meaning. We're associating a lot of meaning to it, and we start to realise, who am I? What was I put here to do? There's got to be more than just this problem that I'm solving for myself. What else is there? And we realise that ceiling is actually glass, and we can just tap it and break it and move through it.
Break through.
And that is evolution. So evolution, meaning evolve or evolve, means we have totally and purely evolved as a human being. The soul, the spirit, everything. I know personally for me, everything had evolved, and the way I knew that happened was, yes, I felt it and I knew it, but I saw it reflected to me every day. The words that individuals were saying, not so much just, wow, mate, you're doing so well these days, congratulations, or wow, you're different, or don't you... It was just more so, how can I get there? Before I get to these high levels, it was just still a bit of judgment on, Tom's trying to sort his life out, like he's still got addictions. Once I got through evolution, that's when the rubber band had snapped, and individuals time and time again would call me or message me and say, how'd you do it? Because they've seen the person evolve. They're no longer I was no longer the individual trying to do it, I was the individual that had done it. Box ticked, authority figure now in regards to if someone wanted a hand. Sure. Obviously I still do a lot of training the whole time I was doing this. Yeah.
That's cool. Very cool. Yeah, look, it's evolution too. You're coming to a point where, you've got a lot of faith in yourself. You've done all the hard work. You've made the changes. You're achieving. But there's a bit of a little trick with this too, because you've got to have so much faith in yourself. You've got to believe that you are the catalyst for change. However, you've got to step out of self into others and community too. So you've got to maintain yourself while stepping out into community. And that's where people sometimes get stuck in meaning, because again, society tells us it's all about self. If we're okay, everything else is okay. When in reality, we need to be okay on a daily basis. Our maintenance of being okay is about our loved ones, our families and friends, our community, and helping others.
Yeah, spot on. Because evolution, to evolve, we must get to this level. Because as you say, we can become stuck at meaning. And what happens is, I see it time and time again. Oh, I feel like I can be myself. I don't have to do the drug and alcohol scene anymore. Oh, this is great. Oh, I've got systems. I'm working with my coach. Oh, look, I've done 6 months. I haven't had a drink. I'm using the systems. I'm going to AA. Oh, Tom, I go to AA once a week. I go to these meetings. I go every Friday back to the rehab that I was going, and they're implementing and they're doing it. They say, they use language with me like, I can hear they're getting tenacity. They're like, oh, bring it on, Tom. Like, I can go out with my mates. They're all drinking. I don't drink. I'm like, wow, this is great. Then they get to meeting and they start to question, what's this all about? What's this all about? And, you question it for so long and you think, this is what can happen. You think, I've arrived. Yeah. And it's the minute you think you've arrived that prevents you from breaking the glass ceiling and tapping into evolution. Warning. If you ever think you've arrived, warning, danger. Because what happens is we plateau. Is that how you say that?
Yeah,
plateau.
Yeah,
great.
that's
My
nice.
English is on.
Yeah.
So yeah, we grow so much. We go up and up and up and up, and then we go, I've arrived, and we plateau. And a certain period of time goes by, because remember, you're either green and growing or ripe and rotting. So the minute you think you're ripe, you actually start to rot. Sounds terrible, but it's just a great metaphor, because you start to rot and you go back down, and then all of a sudden you can slip back into the behaviour
very quickly. You've
got to tap on the glass ceiling and evolve. It has to happen. The beautiful thing about evolution, level 7, is that once you evolve, you start the Trust Me module again in regards to another problem or something else you want to solve for yourself. Now, it's the worst thing to hear, but it's the best thing to hear.
Very true. And life keeps changing, a daily change, a daily evolution. I talk about living in the web. I've got a little analogy.
Please share it, if you got time.
I'll just go through this, like living in a, when we look at a spider web, and I brought up the analogy briefly a week or two ago.
Yeah, I love this.
Yeah, but a spider web, you look at a spider web, it's imperfect, but it's so beautiful, but it's always changing. The spider is always working on the web. So I talk about, I use the spider web as an analogy with 4 points. So when we're moving into evolution, I talk about faith, which I call the love of self, and that's your personal life.
Okay.
And that's all the structures we have, on a daily basis to keep that self-faith, that self-love. Our routines, our peers, our mentors, keeping fit, keeping well, eating well, sleeping well. And then if we've got that, I then talk about going to hope, and that's love of fellows, and I call that the social life, getting out amongst your inner circle. And then I go through to trust with love of earth, and I think love of earth is love of our community, caring about ecology, caring about our planet. And we've got that anchor with the earth, we've got our faith, we've got our trust. And when we've got faith, trust and hope, we can develop real love. And that brings us into spirituality. And I know when I bring up spirituality, people go, oh, don't talk to me about spirituality. They immediately think it's religion, and it's not. I think spirituality is tapping into that earth energy, which is out there.
I think it's one of the most personal experiences and relationships you can create.
Yeah.
There's no... Stop reading books about it. It's about you, it's about your belief system, what you want to believe, what you tap into around. It's almost, it goes beyond and breaks the borders around what we've taught or what we already know.
Very much.
And allows us to create a relationship with ourselves that is so deep and so important. You use the word faith there. It's the ultimate tool, or you don't have to use the word spirituality. You can use whatever you want. The ultimate tool to create a fundamentally resourceful and healthy and abundant filled life. Because what I heard with I love what you shared there. Just say it again, Dave. It was faith.
It's faith, hope, trust, and then going into love. We can't. I believe that we can't step into hope and trust unless we have faith in ourselves. And that's, in other words, that's self-love.
That's spot on, yeah.
And when we've got faith in self, we can put our trust in others. Then we can move into faith for a better world and for our community. And once we have that, we can step into that deep, caring love, which I talk about as spirituality, that inner energy. And there's a big humility in that, because when you realise there's a greater meaning to life, there's an energy. The tide, the moon drags the tide in and out each day. It's a powerful thing, the earth. When we realise that we're just one little tiny speck of humanity, I think there's 7 to 9 billion of us on this planet, we realise we're not that important. And the Buddhists talk about the impermanence of life, that we're all born to die. And again, when you realise you're not that important, you realise that you've got a very important life. And you've got to really live each day. You've got to make the most of each day. And when I'm feeling my best, I'm not concentrating on myself, I'm concentrating on others. And when I concentrate on others, I'm not some bloody spiritual guru that walks up into the mountains with bloody garlands all over, flowers and chants and banging bells. And if you want to do that, God bless you again. But I don't need to do that. And again, we're taught that we've got to go through all these meditation practices. We've got to kneel down in church. We've got to chant all these mantras to be spiritual. You don't have to be. You don't.
There's absolutely no need. We'll use the word. There's no expectation for you and how you start your journey to addiction-free life.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely no expectation on how you start your journey to self-discovery, to letting go of stuff that no longer works, to figuring out how to trust yourself, to figure out what life means to you, to figure out what you mean to yourself, and what does that even mean? Everything's perspective. Everything is the way we look at it.
It is, and if you challenge those beliefs, if you keep asking, I keep repeating, if you keep asking the question why, to everything you're believing, and if you're approaching it with goodness and wholeness, and you're not trying to use people, but you keep asking yourself why. Why am I doing this? Why do I believe this? Why do they have these values? Why do I want to be here? Why do I want to live here? You start questioning the whole focus and fabric of life. Now, I've got a very strong spiritual belief, but my spirituality can be done in 10 minutes after I wake up each morning in bed with a very simple meditation. And I get in touch with God, get in touch with the greater earth, the greater meaning in 10 minutes. I don't have to go through a 15-hour meditation where I'm sitting with my legs crossed and my back straight and my bum so sore because it's, fallen asleep.
And then beating yourself up because apparently you can't steal your thoughts. You're thinking about too much stuff when you're meant to be feeling something, and it's not about that, is it?
It's not about that at all.
Giving
it's
it a
just
go.
Tapping in, giving it a go. If you want to go to church, go to church. I find some churches beautiful and very quiet and spiritual. I was down in Melbourne and I went for a walk all through North Melbourne, and I stumbled across this beautiful mini cathedral. I sat down and just had peace, lit a candle, and you can do that. And you can talk about some of your coaching methods and your positive affirmations. That can make you very spiritual. So I talk about prayer as positive affirmation, that self-belief that you talk about too.
Yeah.
What is some of your mechanisms around that?
Well,
Tom?
one of the things you said there was, I walked through Melbourne and I stumbled across this church and lit a candle, and I just had this sense of peace. I really want everyone to know that in itself is a state of mind, not a state of being. It's a state of thinking. It's a state of mind. However, it was the structure of the church that allowed Dave to tap into feeling peaceful.
And you know what it was too, Tom? I decided to go for a walk.
Yeah.
I didn't get a taxi or an Uber, and it was a really long walk. It was about 50 minutes one way out and 50 back. It was a beautiful Melbourne day, but I walked through the open markets in down at the north end of the city, up through there, and the beautiful old bookshops, and I crested a hill, and there was this cathedral, little mini cathedral. It was stunning. But if I hadn't gone for the walk, if I hadn't taken myself out of my comfort zone, if I hadn't decided to do something different, to embrace Melbourne with my feet, I wouldn't have had the experience.
And this wouldn't have happened. Anything that we're experiencing or that you're experiencing right now around fulfillment and the values that you want to experience and your sense of spirituality would never have happened if one day, a long time ago, you questioned your behaviour, which then in turn questioned your thinking.
Well, if I was the same as I was 20-odd years ago, I would have been sitting in the beautiful hotel I'd walked out of in a coffee shop with a massive hangover, having a coffee, reading a paper I didn't want to read, feeling sorry for myself.
If that.
Yeah, I'd probably be dead.
If that.
Yeah.
So, I love it how you're so straight up about it, and you say it so, you just literally I probably would have been dead, but that's humility in itself, to be like, this is the severity of my problems and where they were, and look at where I am right now, because I know that there's someone listening right now who is at such a low level of level 1 thinking, which is so fear-based, which is massive lack of choice as well, which is this is the choice I have, to continue shoving this stuff into my body, or that's the only choice.
It is the only choice.
So,
but the reality is, it takes away all freedom of choice from you. When the only choice is your addiction, life is so small, so tainted, so broken, that you have no ability to look outside that small, sad little box.
Yep.
But you can open the lid of the box, you can break through, you can step out of it, even if you step back into the box. And I stepped back into the box 30, 40 times in that 3 years. I went into 3 rehabs. I was broken, I was beaten, but I kept standing up.
Yeah.
I wanted to leave a legacy to my sons, not the legacy of a dirty, rotten, drunk and drug addict. I wanted to leave the legacy of a man who did his best.
Yeah. Look, Dave, when I decided to quit. When I decided to quit was when I actually went 5 months, because I believe a true decision is you actually follow through with it. That's the only time you ever decide.
That's a massive victory.
And when I started questioning my beliefs, which meant I was working hospitalities in my 50th hour. I could remember my black Van shoes I was wearing were full of beer because I was serving up just Peroni after Peroni. I think there was a free Peroni night on. People were dancing the night away. That night, I finished at 5 a.m. I went to the 24-hour pub. I had 6 beers, put $200-300 in the pokies. The first time I questioned myself. And I knew I questioned myself because first time I felt really shit that I was doing what I was doing. And between then, I went a year apparently trying to stop playing and drinking. Apparently, I was having a coffee chat with you. I was seeing I was apparently trying to do it. Then I signed up for a coaching course. And then it was 12 months within that coaching course, learning so many tools and resources that 12 months later, I made the decision. And then I went 5 months. 5 months. Took myself through the Trust Me module because I got stuck at level. What happened was I was at level 1. I did a year where I quit hospitality, took every job under the sun, went on a bit of self-exploration, trying to find out where I belonged and whatnot. And then 12 months later, I stepped into level 3 thinking, which was uniqueness, which is, Tom, who cares if you're an addict to gambling and alcohol, you can be a coach, which is very break away from the tribe. But then, I was actually stuck at level 3 thinking for a year before I made the decision to take myself through level 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then that happened. So, for me, even it was 2.5 years from the day I questioned my behaviour to the day I achieved the result that I always dreamed of achieving. So it's not about doing it in a day or a week. It's not about doing a 3-week rehab stint and then apparently you should never do it or never stuff up again or going to a coaching course and apparently this. It's about knowing that you commit, knowing that one of the things that really helped me was say yes, then figure out how. I learned this the first day of coaching. Say yes, then figure out how. So many of us try to figure out the how. Well, how do I do it perfect the first time? Yeah. How do I tell my parents, my family, or my girlfriend, or my husband, or my partner, or whoever it might be, that I'm not happy with myself? But if I say that, that means I have to have it sorted because I can't go back. Then I'm more of a stuff up. No, say yes to you.
Take the risk.
Reach out. Take the risk. Take the gamble on yourself. Take the risk. Say yes. The how will come. As long as you have a why. As long as you never quit. The only way you can fail in this journey, the only way you can fail is if you quit.
Yep.
If you keep getting up. If you come and have a coffee with me and Dave in 20 years and you say, Dave, Tom, you know what? I listened to it. It didn't take me 2.5 years. It took me 20 years, for God's sakes. And we'll say, and are you living the life you want? And you say yes, and we'll be like, rock on, let's do it. Let's go grab a coffee or a water or whatever it might be. It's not about who gets there first or doing it first at the right time. It's about knowing that you're committed to yourself. I saw a quote the other day. I think some of the strongest people on the planet are those who have overcome substance addiction. It's a great example of, look, I think, so many different problems. You can relate that to whatever problem you've been through. There's other problems which is just as severe, if not more severe, but it's a personal thing. And if someone's suffering from a certain problem over here and it's like, well, this is probably one of the worst problems in life. The person that's struggling with the addiction, well, no, this is the worst problem in life. They're not experiencing the other one. So say yes to you. Figure out the how will come. And by doing that, we've got options on how you can do that. You can reach out to Dave or I on Facebook. You can log on to or just jump on Safari or Google and just type in cartwrightcoaching.com. Cartwrightcoaching.com. You'll receive a free gift. It's actually a 3-part video series on solving 3 of the very common and main issues going on with addiction. You'll receive that in the mail. I'll write you something handwritten from me. It's very personal. I'm happy to give that to you. It's absolutely free. I know, Dave, you mentioned that Wayside Chapel's so easy to get in contact with.
There's so much. We've got something on this Friday at Wayside Chapel at Bondi Beach called Live at the Chapel, and this is a way you can come and enjoy some music. We've got 2 of Australia's iconic musicians, Brendan Gallagher and Ed Clayton Jones. They're playing this Friday night, November the 24th from 7 p.m, 95 Roscoe Street, Bondi Beach. It's on Gould Street. It's across from Hurricanes there, you know, the little walkway there, straight across from Hurricanes. Go up there, it's cheap, I think it's $10-20, and you get a night of music, a bit of food, and if you want to talk to someone, you can have a chat to someone there too. So it doesn't, reaching out for help, reaching out for questions and answers doesn't have to be formidable. You don't have to go to a hospital. You don't have to go to somewhere where it's scary and you're being challenged. You can go softly into the process.
Yeah. And Dave, for those who are with us on this journey, that are listening and watching right now, if that might be a big step to go to an event and not know what to expect, would it be okay for someone to, if they had Facebook, log on and look for Tom Cartwright or Dave Stewart and just say, hey, I heard what you were speaking about.
Definitely.
What does that event mean? Will I be what do I do? And maybe just have a chat with you personally instead.
Definitely. You can go onto the Wayside website and my book's for sale there. One Day, One Life. 50% of the proceeds go back to Wayside Chapel. So on. We've got a brand new website, Wayside Chapel, and you can have a read of the book. We've got people from all over the world that are listening to Tom and reading the book and being changed from Mexico, South America, Brazil, Argentina, North America, UK. It's pretty about Canberra, Western Australia, Queensland. We've touched a lot of people's lives. Which I think
Canada, had a guy from Canada call up.
It's pretty amazing. It's just blown me away, and it's nice. We're challenging something that we've been taught not to talk about. It's okay to be unwell. All of us are unwell. Addiction is just another way of being unwell. So it's okay to put up your hand and say, I need help.
100%.
And we're here to help.
Yeah. And I want to share a really important message if I can, Dave.
Sure.
We talked about a little bit earlier that so many of us actually get into addiction because we're trying to be selfless, which means we're putting other people before us. We're putting friends, family, or someone else's dreams in front of ours. So we end up playing what I like to call, it's a very scientific term, but what's called the fuck up strategy. Excuse me, but that's just how I put it. And you know what? The gateway to selflessness is actually by learning to become healthily selfish, which means putting yourself first.
Yes.
And it's your time. If you are listening, if not now, when? And if not you, who? This is your time to shine. And from you asking help, you will start to see results because you'll start to trust in you. And from seeing results, you're going to start to live the life that it is that you want. And only then will the people around you that apparently you want to help and that you want to see how amazing and how vulnerable and how curious and how open and how amazing and just the results and fantastic and successful and healthy and wealth and vitality. Only then will they see all that. All because you made a decision to become healthily selfish and put yourself first and ask for help.
Yeah. Why not, guys? Why not?
What a show. That was absolutely an amazing show. I've absolutely loved it. Yeah, fantastic. You know how you can reach us, Bondi Radio on Facebook page, the Bondi Radio page, the Bondi Radio app. Download that to listen to all of our shows and join the Loud About Addiction Facebook group or add Dave Stewart or Tom Cartwright on Facebook. And would love to give you any further information or deliver any more value to you. We really look forward to one more episode at the moment. Yeah, one more. We're going to jam pack it full of value. Stay tuned on Facebook. We'll be letting you know date, time, and place for that one.
See you guys.
Thank you for an awesome show, everybody. Have a fantastic week.